Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Burning Rubber Podcast. I'm Jake Scarbrough, joined by my co-host Austin Myers, and also joined by our special guest Keenan Kimber. How you guys doing today?
Fan-freaking-tastic. It's an ungodly hour here in the Central Time Zone, and we're just gonna record this podcast, I guess.
All right. What about you,
Doing
Keenan?
equal. I'm doing equally as well. It's even more of an ungodly hour here in the Eastern time zone, but I'm looking forward to this.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about today. We'll get right off with it. The Las Vegas NASCAR race. I didn't watch the truck race, and
Truck truck race was solid. It was just a normal truck race, you know.
who
It
even won it?
ran,
Wasn't it Austin Hill?
yeah, Austin Hill won. So I can't really be very excited about it because he won, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and
The
after that, Rhodes
the
and Gillen are
Xfinity
under the
race.
cutoff. How'd the Xfinity race go? Didn't Briscoe win that?
Yeah, Briscoe won that. That was kind of just it was just like truck race. It was just a Xfinity race. Not much to it. Other than there were not very many cautions, so it was kind of boring.
And then that put Chastain, Annette, Herbst, and Brown under the cutoff. But you got anything to say about those two races, Keenan?
Not really. Didn't get to watch much of it, of either one. I tend not to pay attention to those two series, especially the Cup Series, but can't be too mad. My driver, Matt Crafton, had a top 10 finish, I believe, and then Junior Motorsports came in well. All I know is Briscoe's been on a different
Yeah.
all year
Speaking of,
long.
speaking of JRM, one hell of a run by Gragson at at Vegas with a second place finish.
Yeah, same thing with
Kind
Michael Annette. He had a race-winning strategy till
Yeah, Michael
caution.
Annett had one hell of a strategy too, but I mean, definitely hurt trying to watch Noah win a hometown race and just coming up short.
Yeah. Gregson's a talent. I think he'll be in the Cup Series for the next 2 years,
Oh,
probably.
he'll probably be there not this upcoming season, but the season after, so 2022. I
Yeah,
guarantee you he'll be there.
yeah, you're probably right. It just depends on what Hendrick does with that 48 car, with that
Yeah,
opening since Jimmy Johnson's retiring. I don't want to say it's going to be a 1 year deal, but I'm expecting it to be
yeah.
wholeheartedly.
I don't want it to be a 1 year deal either, but the way it looks, it might be.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, yeah. Speaking of the 48 car, we've got a few things with the silly season, as you could say, that have happened with Chastain going to Chip Ganassi Racing, taking over the 42 next
I
year,
mean,
and
could
then
have my say on that, but
we're gonna.
not gonna say.
And then we also had the news that the rumors were spreading for a while, and it finally became official. That was Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan creating a race team, getting Bubba Wallace as their driver, and it's expected to be a JGR affiliate. Uh, how do you guys feel about that one?
I feel like it was a move that we definitely knew was coming, but will the team be successful is the question. And my my thought is no. There's no way a new team's going to come in like that, even if it's JGR affiliated. You look at what Furniture Row did. They had two cars, and I mean both cars ran decently, but they were like mediocre cars until they took the 77 out and just left the 78, and then once the 78 started doing its thing, it kind of picked up. But I don't know. Jordan's got a lot of money he can dump into that team. Hamlin's got a lot of money he can dump into that team. It's just, it all depends on how it goes down.
Yeah, I have to agree there. It's going to odds are stacked against them, but I think it's a really big risk to take that can become a really high reward. I think Bubba Wallace is a great driver. A lot of people don't think so, but he's taken that 43 team to places where none of us thought it would be. just outside like 11th place finish at Martinsville. And Martinsville's not that easy of a track to do.
No, not
With
at all.
yeah, it looks really easy. You brake, turn, and accelerate, but you got to manage wheel spin, brake temperatures, and everything at the same time. I just think I don't think the team will last more than 5 years. Honestly, we know how Michael Jordan's done as an owner in the NBA, but in NASCAR is a whole different beast, and I just can't see them being too successful while they're still a team.
I don't see it. I don't see the team being successful in the long run when it, as you said, you see it only lasting about 5 years. I mean, take a look at Furniture Row. Take a look at LFR. Both those teams shut down. Furniture Row shut down, and LFR shutting down at the end of this year. And that's something we got to look at with this. This is a team that's never raced before. They just bought out the Germain Racing charter, and they're building it from scratch, basically. So you got to look at that. But they do have that JGR affiliation, like those other two teams did. You've got Bubba behind the wheel, who's won a couple truck races. Had bad luck with Roush and Xfinity, and same thing with Cup. He's just on a very underfunded team, to where he was at the point one year where they were hardly able to finish the season because of lack of sponsorship, to where they couldn't even get a car out there.
See,
But
but this is what you have to look at it. Back to what you just said with Bubba and all this stuff he's got going. He definitely he will have sponsorship coming in guaranteed.
oh yeah,
It,
especially with how this year's laid out with all the
with
changes,
with
he's
everything about
helped.
how this year has gone, I see him definitely bringing in sponsorship and more than I think what people will think he has. Because if you really think about it, there I don't know Penn what Petty has in store for it, but for all we know, longtime sponsor of Petty, the U.S. Air Force could go and be with Bubba if they really wanted to. You know,
I mean,
Yeah, it's just
that's
with this
possible.
sponsorship coming in, how long will it last? Will it last more than 2 or 3 years, really, once
I
all this passes over and dies down?
see.
Or
I
will
see it.
they?
You said 5 years. I see maybe 10 years at least.
I don't see the team. I see the team lasting at least 5 years. I only see Bubba driving there for a year. I feel like
I see him doing maybe 2 years.
with a lot of the stuff that's happened in NASCAR, going into 2022 with the new car, um, there may be a few more Toyota teams. So maybe there's an option there where Bubba would go to one of those Toyota teams, or the seat would open up over at Joe Gibbs. Let's say Martin Truex retires, or Denny Hamlin retires, to just be a full
What are
time
you?
team owner.
What are you smoking?
Nothing, actually.
Because holy crap, those are some bold prediction there, buddy.
I mean, another prediction is just saying I see the team getting a win next year. I mean, whether it's at Daytona or Talladega, with Denny Hamlin pushing Bubba to a win. Bubba has the talent to bring a car to victory lane. He just doesn't have the equipment behind him. He's been
So
able to get a runner up finish at Daytona. He's been able to do well at Indy, which was last year or the year before. I almost thought he won the thing. We saw the great run he had at Daytona. Sure, an accident happened and that kind of put him in the back. Same thing with Talladega, but he's got the skills, he's got the mindset. It's just a matter of if the equipment is there for him or not.
yeah,
Yeah, 100%. I have to agree with you there. I just think it's going to be a lot longer for Bubba to be in that vehicle or that team in general. The only way I could see Bubba leaving is like you said, maybe a spot opens up at Joe Gibbs or Hendrick or Stuart Haas, where they're competing for wins week in and week out. I think Bubba wants to win. He has the passion for racing, and let's not forget he won a couple times at Martinsville in the Xfinity Series, and we've seen earlier this year while I was in the 43 at Martinsville, he was very quick. He was running time similar to the leader. It's just he was 11th and 12th instead of second or third, like you kind of expect someone running for the leader with the
Mhm.
leader to be. It's just, will the sponsorship stick around from what everything he's doing this year? This year he's been an advocate for African Americans in NASCAR and the United States and around the world in general. It's just when all this stuff dies down, because believe I'm African American, I think this is going to die down in 6-7 months. I hope it doesn't. I hope it creates actual change. It's just when it dies down, are these sponsors going to stick around with Bubba Wallace and the team?
That is a major factor. I think the only one that really signed a contract with driver being Bubba instead of RPM. I think that was Cash App that decided to do that.
Cash App.
And then think about it. All right, with that team, you're going to have probably a Nike sponsorship, so that's already a huge amount of money on the table. They may have two sponsors, but we've got people out here like Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick that's got like 2 to 3 sponsors, and sure they run for the big teams, but Bubba's going to be doing the same, and that's another thing with Bubba, and I think both of you can agree with that. You can disagree with his political views and stuff he's done this year, but you can't deny the fact that he's a good driver. We need to see what happens next year, and I think that he'll be a front runner and maybe a race winner.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I expect him to be battling for top tens week in and week out. Hopefully, he'll sneak in a couple wins here and there because he's one of my personal favorites. Always has been. It's not just for this showing he's been doing this year, fighting for rights. I've always liked Bubba Wallace. He's always been my favorite to watch climb the ranks of NASCAR. Not many people do it. And I just think he has the talent, he has the drive, he has the passion to do whatever he wants to do. Is it just, will the car be under him long enough and have enough money to be competitive throughout his career?
Yeah. So
We'll talk about the one more silly season factor before we go on to the Cup race review from Vegas. That being, what's your guys' predictions with what's going on? Yesterday was the deadline for. This is going to be uploaded on Friday, so Wednesday night was the deadline for Matt DiBenedetto to know if he was getting the 21, and no news came out. So that's basically that's basically the news saying Austin Cindric's probably going to the 21 next year. So the question is, where does Dibby go? Who goes to the 48? And if I'm being honest, I see Dibby going to the 48 as much as I wouldn't like to see Dibby in the 48 and driving for Hendrick. It's an opportunity he needs and he deserves.
yes, but
Yeah, 100%. I have to agree with you. We've been talking back and forth about this since May. I've made my view very clear. Everybody seems to call me wild for this, but I think that DiBenedetto is going to that 48, and I think it's going to be for the better of both Hendrick and his own career, because that 48 is an iconic number at that, but Hendrick's a top team.
Hendrick is a top team, and especially if they're building their team off a bunch of younger drivers like Chase Elliott, like William Byron, like Alex Bowman, and maybe even Matt DiBenedetto.
Yeah, I just hate to say it. Like, we talked about Gregson. Is it going to only be a 1 or 2 year deal? It's probably going to only be a 1 because Gregson's looking like he's going to be in that 48 quite soon, or in the team in general. It's just, will DiBenedetto get the time he needs to prove himself in that 48? He's been in mediocre equipment and subpar equipment all his career, and he's continuously outpaced his equipment with a second place finish.
2 second place finishes this year.
Yeah,
both at
Vegas.
Vegas.
Las Vegas. So I just think him in that 48 could contend for wins week in and week out, just as the 9-car Chase Elliott and the 88 Alex Bowman did. It's just, will he have the time he needs in that car?
I think his best shots to prove that he has the talent to be a part of Hendrick is I mean, he's proven he has the talent, but to prove he deserves that 48 car, he's a great road course racer. We saw that at Sonoma last year. He's great at the plate tracks. We've got Talladega coming up, and we've got the Roval coming up. Those are his last two opportunities in my eyes that he has a shot to say, I need this ride, and I deserve this ride. But
100%.
that may
It's
be
not
me.
like he's a slouch on mile and a halves, anyways, and that's what the bulk of the calendar is mile and a half tracks and these cookie cutter ovals that tend to suit these old veteran guys or these really aggressive young guys with runs off the corners and stuff like that. And he's bouncing around right in the top 10 at those races too. I think he has amazing talent. He just hasn't been able to showcase it in average and subpar equipment.
See, I see where you both are coming from, but I just don't see him going to the 48. It's just not adding up in the end. Me, I mean, this is coming from the same guy that has heard stuff about possibly Granola going to the 32, but I hate to say it, but I do see Dibby going to the 32.
I mean, he's been there before. I'm sure if that was his only option, he'd probably take it. Yes, he's going to take the opportunity he can get.
Exactly,
And
but
considering he was there before, and the team knows he can perform well, if he's got another option lined up, I see him taking another one.
Oh yeah, but you've got to think about it. He's been playing pawn to Ford for how long now?
And I think that's one of the reasons he's going to get out of a Ford is...
I don't see him getting out of a Ford. That's the thing, though. He's been so loyal. He has been so loyal to Ford. He ran...
Well, I mean, last year he was in a Toyota.
Yeah, last year he was in a Toyota, but
back when he drove for BK, he was a Toyota.
Yes, but after he went to BK, he went to a Ford. He had 1 year in a Toyota, and what he go back to? He went right back to the Ford. So I believe that he will be picked up by a Ford team. I don't care who it is. It's either going to be the 32, maybe he's lucky and gets the 14. But other than that, I don't see him getting the 48, and that's just me.
That's fair. I think the reason he's going to leave Ford is because Ford hasn't offered him the opportunity to move up to a top team.
Like SHR or Penske.
Yeah, Penske's locked.
Penske's locked, and I mean they could make a four car team if they wanted to. And I mean Rogers got enough money to do it, but will he do it? Probably not.
Rogers got too much on his lap. He's running IndyCar. He's running Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He's got a race team in damn near every series out there.
That's why he killed his. That's exactly why he killed his IMSA program.
Yeah, 100%. And word is he's looking at some Formula One racing too. Looks like he wants a team over there.
I don't see him going.
I don't either.
I think he'd buy out Haas or do a shared team with Haas.
See him. Yeah, I can see him like shareholding Haas and doing some stuff with it. But I don't think he'll buy out a team or put a whole team on the grid. It's just, I think DiBenedetto is sick and tired of being in an average to subpar team. That 48 or the 14. Well, he's battling the 14 for top 15. So would that be much of an upgrade? I don't think it would be.
It wouldn't be much of an upgrade, but he'd be on a better team, and that's really what matters.
And
speaking of the 14, they're currently 10th in the points, being Clint Boyer. He's 20 under the cutoff going into Talladega after the Vegas race.
Speaking of below the cutoff, Kyle Busch, still winless in 2020, is being eliminated this round. I'm calling it.
Yeah, I mean, he said it himself. He said he's getting eliminated in this round, and that's because Talladega went... How many times has he finished Talladega in the last 7 runs? And plus, with the Roval, has he even finished a Roval race?
I don't believe he's finished a Roval either.
I don't either.
He's getting eliminated, in my opinion, and...
It's guaranteed.
It's insane to think of that. The defending champion hasn't won a racing cup. He's won races in Xfinity and trucks this year. and he's about to get eliminated. He can't even make the Final Four this year. And I wouldn't say that's necessarily driver error, or I wouldn't say it's driver error. I just say the luck isn't on his side. Every opportunity he's had at the win,
Yeah, no.
something has cost him it.
Bristol.
Yes. Yeah, it's not on him at all, but everybody's like, oh, he's the best driver on the grid right now. It's like, a lot of it is not having practice.
Oh yeah.
Not having practice would have it's not having practice has definitely killed some stuff there.
Well,
Kyle
wasn't
Busch
that a
not having
rule change for
practice.
next year that only like 6 of the races are going to have
Yes, only
qualifying?
6 races are going to get only 6 races are going to get practice and qualifying, but with having no practice and qualifying, Kyle Busch is winless in 2020. Without practice and qualifying, DiBenedetto is uncertain on a ride. If we would have had practice this season,
I feel
I
like if we
guarantee
had
you
practice, he would have
DiBenedetto would
done
have a
better.
ride. He would exactly. DiBenedetto would have done better, and he would have a ride, but he doesn't. There's a lot of and like they keep saying, there's a lot of unknowns when you don't have practice and quality.
By far.
Yeah, 100%.
And let's move on to the Vegas review. I didn't really watch most of it. I just caught near the end when you
It
had
was
Kurt
pretty
leading,
boring.
DiBenedetto second, and then John Hunter Nemechek blow a tire and almost kill Ricky Stenhouse. And that set up for a pretty good
Overtime.
ending. Like the battle at the end was very
I
interesting.
mean, if overtime wouldn't have come out, Kurt Busch would have not won the race.
I don't know. I feel like Dibby had more of a longer run car than the short run,
But
and he had a better
when
car for the middle.
when the overtime came out, when we had overtime, Bowman had a shot to win, and he goofed. When they had the run down the backstretch, both Bowman and Hamlin, Bowman should have gone down to the bottom, and he didn't, which killed his run. Let Hamlin get past,
And that also
and
hurt Blaney.
it hurt Blaney too. So, and if Hamlin would have had maybe 2 more laps, he would have beat Kurt.
Yeah. I just think we saw throughout the race that you get behind somebody, it's really hard to make up ground. So you kind of got to search around.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels really bad that, the faster car by a second could get stalled out behind somebody because of dirty air. I just feel like NASCAR should take a bigger step.
That's why their 2022 cars are such a big step.
Yeah, huge. And I really hope they do it the right way.
But you got to know they've been saying that for years, and has it really changed much? No, not really.
Not at all.
But yeah, being from Vegas, it was definitely really cool to see Kurt win at his home track. But it's better Kurt than Kyle,
Most definitely.
And under the cutoff after Vegas, you have Kyle Busch, Clinton Boyer, Eric Almirola, and Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon being 32 points out, Almirola being 27 out, Boyer being 20 out, and Busch being 9 out. Kurt Busch locked himself into the round of 8.
Almirola and Austin Dillon are pretty much guaranteed for wins. They have to win to get in now. Borden,
well, there's 2 races.
Yeah, but do you understand how hard it is to make up 30? What was it? 37 points in a race.
Yeah, I mean it is.
It's
I'm
difficult,
sure it is.
And I mean, in order for him, if they wanted to make the playoffs or the next round, they would have to hope that everybody else in front of them was to wreck. That way, they could rack up as much points as possible. I definitely see Austin Dillon getting close to the next round, but he might just miss it. I want to see Boyer move on to the next round. I want to see Austin Dillon move on. But with that being said, at whose cost would it be? And I had said this since the beginning. I saw Bowman as a round 1 exit. Didn't happen. So maybe something happens with Bowman and, say, maybe Keselowski or somebody. There's your two that are out. But the chances of it happening are very slim. So, it is what it
especially
is.
going to Talladega.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
especially
then the
going
Roval
to
after that too, being known for their wrecks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tom's heartburn turns a little. It's a little much.
If I'm being honest, I see everyone above the cutoff advancing except Alex Bowman. I see Eric Almirola winning Talladega, and that's what knocks Bowman out. And that's just my
I,
prediction because Almirola's shown he's great at play tracks.
most definitely.
Yeah.
But it's not like Bowman's a slouch either at plate tracks either. Them Hendrick
Mm-hmm.
cars have been very good there for year on year on year. And since they got that stability problem fixed, it seems like, they've been on rails. The 9, 88, 24, even Jimmy Johnson, he's had some of the worst luck there, but he's run up front
Yeah,
every
he
plate
definitely
race.
has.
I just think Almirola. My thing is Almirola's been consistent all year. I call him almost Mr. Consistency because he's always in that 5th to 10th place range, and it's just he can't seem to break through and get him a win.
Mm-hmm.
Well, other news with the Vegas race, since we were just wrapping that up, we noticed with the truck race that Natalie Decker was pulled out of the car and the race and not medically cleared.
Let me make this announcement, please.
All right, and yeah, going into
But yeah,
Vega.
with Decker being out and not able to race this weekend, insert our special guest from last week, Mr. Kaz Gralla, could run the 44 for Talladega, which is freaking amazing because, after, if anybody's watched last week's, you can tell how big of a fan some of us are of Kaz Gralla.
I do
Kaz
definitely
Gralla
feel
won a
bad.
plate race, didn't he? I
Yeah,
feel like
he won
He
his
won
first race
Daytona,
in
and
truck.
yeah.
I thought so.
Where his meme sentence came in. Oh my God, someone flipped.
There, I do definitely feel bad for Kaz this year because he's gotten 2 rides now. He
Two
took over
rides
the
off of
3 at Daytona for the road course, and now he's taken over the
another 44
44.
off of medical stuff.
Yeah, 2 things. I mean, he couldn't help. The person he's replacing can't help. It's
No,
it's just sad, and I think a lot of people will look at that as, oh, he
but
didn't deserve that spot.
you also got to look at it. He's definitely shown that he deserves a ride somewhere.
Oh yeah,
I don't care who you are or what you think of him. There's no doubt that he deserves a full-time rider. That doesn't matter if it's trucks, Xfinity, or Cup. I mean, I would love it to be Xfinity or Cup, but heck, if he got sent back down to trucks just to reset and go and blow all the way through all 3 series, that would be okay because he's doing what he wants to do. He's racing every weekend. He doesn't want to sit there and race a race here and then say 3 months later race a race here and then a month later a race here and then go to his final race at the Roval.
yeah, because that being his final race of the Xfinity season at the Roval, which is next weekend.
Yeah, next weekend.
So, I mean, I really hope the best for him. I really hope if he wins Talladega and he wins the Roval, that would be great on his resume and definitely help out him getting a car next year
He
full time
see, and I say it every time he's at a plate race. He's definitely shown he's a great plate driver.
by far.
And I mean, a lot of people say that win at Daytona was luck, but you look at
Look at a
how,
lot of plate tracks. A lot of them
yes,
are based
are
on
very,
luck, but
yeah,
he still showed speed, and he shows them each time he goes to a plate track.
exactly.
You
And I
got
mean,
to be in
not just that,
position.
you got to look at his crash avoidance from 2017 too. Literally, Peters or whoever was in the 17 got turned right in front of him, and he miraculously made it through.
See, that's the thing with plate races. You can lead every lap and still lose that race. And it's because you don't need to put yourself in the lead. You don't need to put yourself in last. You just got to put yourself in position to win. And we saw that with Justin Haley at Daytona last year. He stayed out an extra lap thinking, "Oh yeah, we're going to go green. We're going to drop to the back next restart." Boom, race gets called, and you have Justin Haley win a race for
His
Colleague, or
his
not Colleague, it was Spire, and
Spire, and
At Daytona for a rain
and
delay.
that just brings us full circle because Haley's one of Grawler's best friends. They've been
They're
friends
both
off
great at
track.
plate tracks.
They're great plate racers. They've been friends off track since they both started in trucks. So it's like give or take. You give and you take. They probably talk to each other about the plate races, make each other better, get feedback.
100%.
And
So
Because it's
and
not like
with
because Haley was in position to win the Xfinity race earlier this year at Daytona Oval.
yeah, and then
one Dega.
he won Dega, yeah, and he won Daytona too
Yeah.
in
So he
in
won two
July.
plate races. I mean, sure, get mad because he can win on plate tracks and hasn't won on anything else. Shouldn't say he can't, just he hasn't yet.
He hasn't yet,
And,
but
but still, you got to realize he's a young driver. He's still got time to improve, and a lot of people don't realize that. They see him race a half a season, and they're like, "Oh, he's trash. Oh, he shouldn't be in that car." Give these guys time, and they will show their talent.
hmm with since we're on the talk of the plate races and Talladega and stuff, Talladega predictions. Who wants to go first?
Uh,
I'm alright with it.
let's do the truck race. Who's winning truck?
Oh, I honestly had no clue there was a truck race this weekend.
They're doing all
I
three.
always
Saturday.
watch it, but I'm going with Grant Enfinger. He's shown
Very
pace out of
solid
him anyway.
driver.
I think Grant's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And Thor Sport trucks are always seem to be competitive no matter where they
hmm
go. And I think he's just got that right touch of aggressiveness to get it done this weekend. I'm really feeling Grant
hmm
Enfinger on this one.
What about
See,
you, Austin?
in my heart, I want Grolla, but realistically, I see it being a Thor Sport driver or a GMS driver. So out of each stable, I'm gonna say it's either gonna be Infinger or Smith because show they've both shown speed at plate tracks. Infinger has the Daytona win from the beginning of the season under his belt, and Zane Smith he finds ways to get up front even if he's having an issue. So
100%. How about you, Jake?
Well, I
Who is
mean,
your
same thing. Same thing with Austin. I want to go with Kaz, especially with his plate track resume. But I'm gonna keep it like you guys. But I'm not gonna go for Grant Enfinger. I'm gonna go for his teammate Matt Crafton, defending
Please,
champion.
man.
I
I
would
hope
love to see
so.
him win a race. He's won a race this year already. Let's see him get number 2.
I
it
hope
would be
so,
nice to
man.
see
I
him get
love
two.
Matt. He's
It would
my.
also be nice to see Sauter or Rhodes get a win.
I like anybody in the Thor stores.
The
Thor
the
sport.
Thor Sport guys are definitely top notch guys. So just to see any of them win would be nice. And I mean,
You know what? I'm gonna withdraw that. I've been saying it all year. Tanner Gray or Derek Kraus is getting a win this year. One of them is winning Dega.
I don't see either of them winning Dega. But when we go to the next cookie cutter track, which I believe is Kansas, right?
Kansas.
Is Trucks doing Kansas?
I don't know.
I can look real quick.
No, I think it is Texas because they only
Yeah,
I
do one.
think
Texas.
is it Texas?
Yeah.
One driver that stands out at the mile and a half is definitely Derek Kraus.
Oh yeah.
Nope, Trucks does Kansas.
Oh, they do.
Yep, just looked at it. So right there, especially at Vegas. Derek Kraus was a front-running truck, almost won the race, just came up short. I see Kraus getting it done at Kansas.
Well, we already did our truck predictions for Dega. Let's move on to Xfinity. Keenan, who's winning Xfinity?
You know who I gotta go with. I grew up a Dale Jr. fan. I still am a Dale Jr. fan. Always will be Dale Jr. fan. And even though Dale Jr. is not racing, I'm gonna go with one of his drivers. I'm gonna go with Noah Gragson. I think Noah Gragson has the talent to do it. I think he's already won one earlier this year. I
Yeah,
might
he
be
got
wrong.
the beginning. He got the first race of the year.
Yeah, and it's not. And Dale Jr. is gonna help out all he can. Dale
Mm-hmm.
Jr. is one of the best plate racers in history of NASCAR, and I think he's gonna bestow his wisdom down on the plate races to his team, as any team owner would do. And I got to go with Gregson or I got to go with Allgaier. I think one of them two are going to win it.
Fair enough.
What about you, Austin?
See, this is where it gets tough because I love all my boys in Xfinity. Don't get me wrong. The connections that I have with a few of them are beyond compare. So therefore, I'm going with also Noah Gragson, but I have to go with Riley Herbst too because we've seen Riley Herbst at plate tracks. He's quick. He's always quick. Look at last year's truck race.
Look at
He
this
could have.
year's ARCA race at Daytona.
Yeah, look at the ARCA race at Daytona.
Yeah, no. I'm saying that as in what was he doing? He
Yeah.
acted like side draft didn't exist.
Shut the fuck up.
Oi!
But
You can't say that.
But you look at what he did in the truck race last year. He had a chance to win the race, got forced below the yellow line.
And then Spencer
Madness
Boyd won.
happened. Spencer Boyd won. Love you, Spencer Boyd. But I see Noah either getting win 3 or I see Riley getting win 1.
See, this once again, I'm going with someone completely off the table that you guys picked. I'm saying I'm gonna go with a long shot. It's not gonna be Colleague. It's not gonna be JGR. Not gonna be JRM.
It's gonna be Brandon.
It's gonna be Ryan Sieg. That.
Oh. Ooh. Yes, but no, because you forgetting one thing. I say Brandon Brown for a reason. Brandon Brown just leased an RCR engine for the rest of the season.
Still, I'm going.
So
I'm going
you
with
think
Sieg.
about
I'm
it.
going with Sieg on it.
Go ahead. And with that being said, Jake, you can go ahead and go first for the Cup predictions.
All right, with Cup predictions, as much as I'd like to see Debbie win, of course, like I said earlier, I'm not gonna say Matt's gonna win.
No.
I'm saying none of the top teams are winning.
Nope.
I'm going right now. It's not gonna be Hendrick. It's not gonna be Gibbs. It's not gonna be SHR. This pick, I see Matt Kenseth winning. I consider CGR not to be a top team. I consider him to be middle. But if it's not Matt Kenseth, I see Michael McDowell winning.
Fair enough. All right, Keenan, what about you, man?
I'm gonna let you go. I'm still thinking.
No, I want you to go first, Keenan.
Nah, I think I'm gonna let you go.
You stubborn man. Okay, so realistically, I see a mid-tier team getting it. I don't know who on the mid-tier team, but I see a mid-tier team getting it. Maybe Christopher Bell gets his first win. Maybe Tyler Reddick gets his first win.
I mean, Christopher Bell had a good run at Daytona, and Reddick's been very well all season.
But that's realistically, I see a middle-tier team getting it. But I want to see Brennan Gaughan get it done in his final race.
I can back that one. I'd like to see that happen.
I would love that.
I want
I
him
would
to
love
get it
that.
done in his final race. He was so close last year. I just feel like this year he's been on such a slouch with the plate races. He's not really run up front like Daytona in
Save it for the last one.
the summer. Daytona in the summer, he ran in the back, which was not great because I still think they had the road course car for some odd reason. And Talladega in the spring he did meh, and then Daytona in the spring he finished I think ninth.
Yeah. I mean, we saw him almost win Dega last year, and then he got
Yeah,
flipped. But I mean,
we almost won. He almost won Dega last year, and then Stenhouse happened, and he went flying. But I mean, I really want him to get it done. It would mean a lot. It would mean a lot to him, but also to people like me who have followed him through his career,
yeah.
know what his resume is. I just deep down, I want Gone to get it, but I see a middle tier team getting it.
No, like besides Crafton, he was always my favorite in trucks. Like last time I even met him was 2011, October 15th of 2011. So everyone knows what happened the next day. If you follow IndyCar, but it was that weekend with Truck and IndyCar at Vegas. He was awesome. He is probably one of the nicest people in the garage you can talk to, and he's great.
An amazing guy.
There's a lot of them that are great with their fans, and just being a little kid back then, he was awesome to me, and I didn't really see any other truck guys that weekend, but he was a great guy. He has a great personality, and I love him for that.
I mean, growing up in the city, you know
who he is. Yeah.
You know the Gone name, you know the Gone family, you know the South Point. But when you get to go to the South Point and actually like physically meet him, it's something else. And that was like getting to know him and talk to him was fucking awesome. And that's why it was kind of like, okay, I've talked to Brennan Gaughan, and so he's immediately one of my favorite drivers. Just because I've had this interaction with him.
Well, I think we've kind of just taken Keenan's spotlight.
Sorry, Keenan.
Yeah, Keenan, who do you think's winning the Cup race?
I seem to be the only realistic one here. It's going to be a top team, no doubt about it in my mind. I want to say Blaney, but I'm not going to. He won earlier this year, but I think he's going to just be playing a supporting role, being out of the playoffs. We know how good both Joey and Brad are going to be. Chase is always up there. Kyle Busch has had several strong cars lately at these tracks. And Hamlin's the same. He's probably the best plate racer over there by far. Joe Gibbs doesn't usually make as much noise. I'm going to go out and go ahead and say, I think it's either going to be Denny Hamlin or Joey Logano. As much as I don't want to say either one of those two guys, but they're both top two in the restrictor plate races every year. They're always quick. I would love to say Chase. I just don't think he'll get it done. I think he'll finish in a top 5. It's just I don't think he'll get it done. I want to say Bowman. Bowman's always quick there too. It's just I don't think I can find myself saying that he's. I got the last Daytona. I got the Daytona prediction right with William Byron. And I want to say Willie B again, but he's in the same boat as Ryan Blaney. He's already out. He's going to be playing a supporting role. But my dark horse pick, since y'all want to seem to be picking these mid-tier guys, I'm going to go out and I would love to see Brendan Gaughan win. But I think I'm going to be looking at Ty Dillon.
That'd be cool.
As my Ty.
Can I retract my pick?
No.
Because I see Ryan Newman getting it done.
I can't see it.
I can't see it.
I just don't think
he's been very quiet.
Exactly.
You know what? Too quiet.
When he's that quiet,
if you let me retract mine.
When Newman's that quiet,
all right, I'll allow that. I'll allow that.
Instead of Joe Logano, give me Ricky Stenhouse.
That isn't bad, especially for Dega.
Dear Jesus.
I'm not
Stenhouse
a big fan
DD
of
incoming,
Ricky
boys.
Stenhouse, but you got to admit he gets it done at these plate tracks. One of the best, top
Isn't he
5.
driving that all pink
The,
car? Like, I'm
the
in love with
tulip
that
car.
scheme.
I hate it. It's disgusting.
I love it. I've always loved the breast cancer awareness cars. Starting out with Clint Boyer's old pink lemonade car. Schemes were great. But as I'm looking at our notes, we've got a few more things to talk about. We've got technically today, as since this is getting uploaded Friday afternoon, we've got the IndyCar doubleheader and the Indy Road Course. Big news going into it. Veach is out. Zach Veach is out for the following 3 races, being the 2 Indy
Sadly.
races and St. Pete. James Hinchcliffe replacing him, and also Askew's out, and I didn't hear anything about St. Pete. It just sounds like it's going to be for Indy, that he's getting replaced by Castro Neves. And that's going to look so weird seeing Castro Neves in the 7 for Aero McLaren SP. But, going into there, what do points look like? I've got points right here, I think.
Points, it's Dixon, Newgarden, Pato, Herta, Power,
It's
Rahal,
only
Sato,
in contention
Pagenaud.
for Dixon and Newgarden, mathematically. Dixon with
Mathematically,
456, Newgarden with 384. And Newgarden said in an interview that he's prepared to know he has to win these next 3 races if that's what it takes.
Yeah, and I don't think it's happening, though. Newgarden's been very quiet this year.
He's been quiet, but I feel like luck will be on his side.
I understand that, but he's been so quiet this year, but I don't see him getting it done because usually this late in the season, Newgarden's making a lot of noise, and he's not making much noise.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily him that's not making the noise. I think it's Team Penske itself. The team's been very quiet
team's been
this
struggling.
year. And I think that's more of the fact that Roger's been in the position of having to find out how many races am I able to get on the schedule, considering he runs the series. So I think he was more focused on the series its first year, and we may see Penske show up next year.
Speaking of Penske, has anybody heard the rumor?
What's the rumor?
Roger Penske wants to buy out Chicagoland.
I've heard about it. I don't see it happening.
I see it happening because
he's bought out Nazareth. He bought out Fontana, or he was the owner of Fontana. He was the owner of Michigan, and eventually he sold all those tracks. I don't see him buying out Chicagoland.
I see him buying out Chicago.
I see a company buying Chicagoland and him, putting some money in there, but I don't see him actually buying it.
I don't know, because that's prime. That's a prime track right there. And I mean, he could put IndyCar on there if he wanted it to.
Oh yeah, but that's 1 race a year at that.
Yeah,
but I mean, yeah.
But talking about the Indy Road Course, the Fast Six this week.
Fast Six. I just know Rinus VK got the pole.
Yeah, Rinus VK got the pole, but our Fast Six were VK, Newgarden, Herta, Power, Andretti, and Harvey.
I'll take it.
3.
I know Alex Palou was on top of the charts in practice 1.
Yeah, Palou was on top of the charts early, yeah.
He's been great this year.
Look at how our Fast Six sat. There's a rookie, then there's 3 really good drivers, then there's Andretti, which I'm not going to put in a category, and then there's Harvey. Harvey, when we go to the Ndgp,
is great.
He is fantastic at that Indy Road Course. He always makes noise.
I mean, pay attention to Power being in the Fast.
Yeah, and Newgarden.
Well, no, pay attention to Power. Power and Pagenaud were the only 2 to ever win at the IndyGP going into this year. Then Dixon won earlier in the season when we went there. We've got 2 of these races. Can Power and Pagenaud, pick up that streak again?
I don't think so. I see somebody else picking it up, but like we said earlier, the biggest shocker was Rinus VK in the Ed Carpenter Racing Chevy, I think he's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Chevy. That's a team you don't hear get a pole very often. And we said the same thing when Connor Daly got the pole in the Carlin. We said this car's never on the pole. What's going on all of a sudden? And I mean, I understand that Connor Daly has talent, but able to put a Carlin on pole is something else. And this with Renus VK just shows the kid has a lot of potential. And not to mention, I'm looking at his bio right now on the IndyCar app. Poor Renus VK was born on 9/11 of 2000.
Well, a year before.
Year before, but poor Renus VK.
Well, we've got one more thing to talk about. We won't really be able to look at the schedules. I made a post about it. We can just sum that up real quick. NASCAR making
No Chicagoland.
yeah,
Sadly.
no Chicagoland, no Kentucky.
Insert
Bristol's
Coda,
on dirt.
Road
Insert
America.
Coda. All-Star races Texas. We're getting Nashville. Road America's the July 4th race.
Bristol dirt.
Yeah, it honestly,
the
Indianapolis
Roval for Cup.
Yeah, replacing the oval. They're not doing the oval. I'm putting my opinion out there. I don't like it.
I don't like it either, just because they took my home track. What is my home track right now away when Chicagoland, because Chicagoland's easily the best mile and a half on the schedule.
It has good finishes.
It has I mean, when it comes down to it, the finishes are great. The racing before, like the last 50 laps it's not the greatest, but it produced better finishes than like Atlanta has in the past few years, or
yeah.
And I think a lot to do with this is the package, though.
Yeah.
With most of these mile and a half, the package really ruins a lot of.
Well, I was informed earlier that the highest speed package is going to be used for 26 of the 36 races.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that could be good. It could be bad. You never know. It's like the road course, the plate tracks, and most of the mile and a halves.
Another thing that you also need to look at. Fuck, I forgot it now.
Nice job, buddy.
That's 3 times.
Anyway. I'm going to go ahead and give my opinion while he's looking for something. I personally like the schedule. There's things I would love to change, like Bristol being a dirt track.
Oh.
And Texas being the All-Star.
The thing is, being the All-Star, the thing I find very intriguing is it could end up being the road course of rumors.
True.
Yeah, the rumor is. But what I was going to say is there is one track I definitely would have taken off the schedule.
What?
New Hampshire.
No.
Yes.
Historical value. Race, they wouldn't take that off. I don't see them ever taking
so god awful. That race. Literally, I swear to God, every time they go to Loudon, I end up sleeping through it because it's that bad. And that says a lot if I can sleep through a Loudon race, but I can watch an F1 race where Hamilton wins every week, you know?
Wow. That's my sport.
Yeah, and then looking at IndyCar's schedule for next year, there's really not much to talk about. There's
Richmond. Richmond got the boot.
Yeah, Richmond didn't even get a start.
They didn't even get their race. They just got the boot. I'm like,
they just gone forever. But you have St. Pete kick off the season, Barber, Long Beach, back-to-back Texas, the Indy Road Course, the Indy 500, back-to-back Belle Isles races, Road America, Mid-Ohio, Toronto, Streets of Nashville, which debuting. We go back to the Indianapolis Road Course, then what was formerly known as Gateway and now Worldwide Technology Raceway for some reason, Portland, and then Laguna Seca. I'm still hoping this is the last year of Laguna Seca. And we can only hope. But I just want I want Sonoma back. I'm sorry.
Yes, Sonoma would be nice to have back. I respect Laguna Seca. I respect Sonoma, but they may not do it.
Laguna Seca just has historical value, and the whole reason the whole reason Sonoma isn't on the schedule is because they said, it's Laguna Seca or us, basically, as far as I read back in 2018
Yeah,
when
that's what it
that
was.
happened. It was basically,
But
one or the other.
That brings me to another point that I want to bring up before we end tonight. I don't know if anybody has heard anything about F1 leaving COTA.
I've heard about that too.
Which is very big, especially
I think
since
they'll go back to Indy.
I was going through tracks that they could go to. I brought up a list of maybe 8 tracks. They could go Virginia International Raceway, Road Atlanta,
Not great.
Road America.
See, they can't do
Indy,
Road America because the pit stalls. They can't.
Yeah.
Not grade 1 either.
Yeah. It's going to have to be a track like Indy or...
It's either going to be Indy.
I could see them...
It's going to be Indy or Laguna Seca.
I don't
because
think
Laguna
so,
Seca
because
has those garages.
They can do it. They can do it if you really think about it. If IMSA can have a race, because IMSA pretty much uses the same thing as
they
F1
use
does
pit walls and the open garages. F1's never done pit walls
at all.
Because they can't. They literally can't.
Honestly, I don't see
sure they could,
but I think what they want to do, what they'll end up doing is they'll sacrifice one of their European races. Because they have
there's no way. They might.
Well,
maybe
Europe
if they
on a foothold.
Maybe if they race Vietnam one year and then see how god awful it is, maybe they'll decide, hey, let's get rid of Nam and go back to the U.S. for 2 races.
Well, I don't think we can really judge Vietnam yet, especially with the only experience anyone has with it is just in the game, and I feel like the only reason it's terrible in the game is because there's no data they can base it off.
Exactly. But, you never know. Like, we said the same thing about Netherlands because really the only person that has put laps down.
Netherlands is good in the game, and it's showed its speed and
exactly.
GT.
But you have to look at it. You have to look at it this way, though. The only person that has put laps down in an F1 car at Zonta 4 has been Verstappen.
But the difference is between Vietnam and Zandvoort is Zandvoort holds other races. They hold GT. They host other Formula Series.
I know. But there's definitely differences. They're both newer tracks, but you can't go to Vietnam every weekend and try to test, because it's a street circuit.
Which it wasn't a test for Max. It's not like it was a test. It was a demo run.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to promote. It's not like it was in a current car or anything. But they
that
they're going to draw from other tracks.
Speaking of a street circuit, brings me back to our other point. F1, if they really wanted to, could go run Long Beach.
The same thing, pit wall.
Yes and no, because that's a temporary pit wall.
But the garages, there's no garages. They'd have to be in tents, and that wouldn't pass. That wouldn't pass.
Sure it would, but you never know.
It wouldn't, because their entire history, or the entire history from at least the fucking mid-90s, it's been open garage. There's been no pit wall, and that's because of the way that they all have to position themselves around the car.
Yeah, I know, but
so they can't do that because same thing with Indy. They have to get rid of that pit wall, or else Indy's already a tight pit road. They're eliminating half a lane if they want to use the wall.
But you understand that the pit wall at Long Beach
is temporary. But so there's no garages that they can line up in, so they'd have to be in tents, and cars wouldn't fit under those little tents, and they wouldn't have the space for that.
Why can't they use the tents that like Formula E uses?
That's different.
There's a whole lot less with
plus with Formula E, they don't have the pit stands in front of the stalls. So there's a lot that would have to be changed about the Long Beach street circuit in order for F1 to go there. And I feel like with Long Beach being as tight of a track as it is, it wouldn't work.
This is what I think is going to happen. Is Formula One would leave a European track, maybe Abu Dhabi,
They're not
Somewhere
leaving Abu Dhabi. No way. No.
not very well liked. Which Abu Dhabi, you got tracks such as that, and they've already expressed how they want to expand their market into the U.S. The track that kind of concerns me that you didn't say was Watkins Glen. That's grade 1 already. That wall can be changed because IndyCar already goes there, if I do remember.
IndyCar
Nope.
went
Yeah.
there, but that wall's permanent because IndyCar
Yeah.
goes over the wall.
Okay, that's true. Okay. But the thing with Formula One is they already want to stretch their legs into America. They have a foothold in Europe. They have a foothold in Asia. They have a foothold in South America. What they'd probably do is move the finale back to Brazil if they were to take out Abu Dhabi, or they already expressed they wanted more races on the schedule anyways. Them going to Indy, Roger Penske already wants them back at Indy. That's been expressed
But
through
do you
Roger.
remember what happened last time they went to Indy?
But the thing is, they don't have to go through that banking anymore. There's
Yeah,
an
that
end.
banking's gone now. They've got the alternate layout right there.
Not even what I'm
And
talking
also the
about. Do you
tires are different.
remember? Do you remember what happened last time they went to Indy? Only like 5 cars ran that race.
It was because of the tire and
It
the
was
banking
because of
issue.
the
That was
bank.
literally it. It was the
Yeah, it was-
banking
Yes, but the
through,
whole only time they, I guess, yeah, they only time they're using the banking is into NASCAR too.
and that's not even usable.
That's
They
not
don't.
even
They
that.
shoot on the short shoe, and since
Yeah,
back then
Yeah.
they didn't have that alternate layout between oval turn 1 and the front straightaway that IndyCar
Uh-huh.
uses, they didn't have that then. So that's there now, and they'd be able to use that plus having different tires back then compared to now. It wouldn't surprise me if it would work, and it can, and it will
yeah.
if they try it.
I think there'll be 2 American races.
We'll see.
Before
We'll
they go
definitely
back.
see.
Well, last thing we got to do before we wrap this up is do IndyCar predictions because this has gone on way too long.
Yeah,
We're already over an hour.
we're an hour and 18 minutes in now.
Yeah. IndyCar predictions for the Ndgp both races, so you get 2 picks. Keenan, I don't know if you really pay attention to IndyCar enough.
I don't as much, but I'm going for it. I'll go first too.
I was gonna say, do you want just the winner or do you want the podium?
Just the winner.
Okay.
Winner of both races.
I
Okay.
think the winner of the first race, as much as I don't like him as well as I don't like him very much. Jake calls me a crime for this, but I think Will Power will win the first race.
I like
I
Will.
don't know why, but I'm just going
I
to
mean,
go
Will
with
and Simon are the only 2 to win there before Dixon did this year, so
It's very possible, yeah.
The second race, I'm going to go with. As much as I want to say Tony Kanaan, it's not going to happen.
TK's not even racing.
yeah, it's Sport A. TK finished his
TK
last
was
race.
yeah. TK's last race.
He only
was
did the
the last
ovals.
race.
I'm going to go cry. I'm going to go with. We'll go with it. I think Dixon will win it. Sure,
Dixon
why
won.
not?
Austin, what about you?
Harvey and Harvey.
Harvey and Harvey. As much as I'd like to see an underdog winner, I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm going to go Power in the first race, Pagano in the second. They're gonna make that
want to
streak
say Harvey.
go.
I want to say Harvey and Harvey, but then again, I want to say Harvey and VK just after what we saw today.
I don't know.
That's fair.
But
There's a
I
lot
definitely
that
see
can
VK
change
making
between
noise.
quali pace and race pace. So
Yes, but you never know. I don't know, but I'll keep my Harvey and Harvey because I really have high hopes for Jack.
all right. Well, that wraps us up here for this week. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the Burning Rubber podcast. I'm Jake Scarbrough, joined by Austin Myers and Keenan Kimber. And if everything goes according to plan, it will be us 3 and maybe someone else next week. We'll probably upload next Thursday or Friday. We're trying to still settle a perfect date. So we'll come in with the Talladega results going into the final race of the final race of the round of 12. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.